Hi Gayatri, can you hear me? All right, let's start today's class. So yesterday I said that we will, you know, we'll learn about user interface of Tableau today, right? So let's do that. I think my screen is visible.
Yeah, visible.
Okay, great. All right. So yesterday I said some of the Tableau products, right? In which I said Tableau desktop is one of the product on in which we will work as, right? Being Tableau developers or data analysts to create any graphs or dashboards, we will use Tableau desktop. Correct. So this is the I just open my Tableau desktop application and immediately once I open, this is the page which you are seeing now. This is the page we can able to see. Okay, so once we are done with the demo classes, I will show you the installation process of Tableau. Okay, so but just for now, let's try to understand the user interface of Tableau and let's try to create our first graph. Okay, so Gayatri, I forgot about what did you said yesterday. You said that you're working for Power BI, right? Or
No, I have learned the Power BI
okay,
and I have worked on Tableau. Just only for the basics I work, like
okay,
creating graphs. I did not learn in deep.
okay. So currently, are you working?
Yeah, I am working.
All right, and you are from?
I am from Nasrobeta.
Okay, fine, fine. All right. So let's start. So as you are saying, you already have some basic knowledge on Tableau. Uh, Still, let's just try to understand everything deeply. Okay.
Yeah.
So once I open my Tableau desktop, this is the page where you can see, right? So towards the left side, you can see something called as Connect, right? So below Connect, whatever you can see, all these are called as data sources. Okay. One second. So all these things below connect, whatever we can see, all these are the various, as I said yesterday, the data can be in any format, right? The data can be in Excel format, it can be in text format. As you can see here, these are all the different types of data sources available in Tableau. However the client's database, on which database the client is using, or else whatever the data source is. Data source is basically the form of the data, I can say. Okay, so as we know, the data can be in many formats. We have many databases available in the market, and not only databases, we can store the data in Excel file, text file, PDF file, right? So all these things can be seen below the in the panel called as Connect. Okay, to you can see here, this is a Tableau server, and you can see these are some of the file formats, and we can see these are some of the servers. If I click on more, there's many servers, this many databases available in the Tableau. According to our client's database, we will connect here to that database so that we will get that data, right? So yesterday I said I used one figure and I said, right, let me just share my complete screen. Yesterday I said, right, so the data can be in any format. First of all, the data can be in any format, right? It can be in the form of Excel file, it can be in the form of text file, PDF file or any type of database is available. Here you can see this is Microsoft SQL Server, and if I'm clicking on more, you can see here MySQL, and these are all the different types of databases where all the companies will use, correct? So according, this are normally files we will use. If our data is in the form of Excel file, we will connect to Excel file. If it is in the form of PDF, we will connect to PDF, and according to our client's database, we will connect to that particular database. In our course, we are learning in SQL Server, right? Microsoft SQL Server. So we will learn all these files, like maybe Excel file, text file. Along with that, on that from all of the available databases, we will learn about SQL Server database in our course, correct? So as I said yesterday, the data, suppose this is the database, correct? First of all, to create any graphs, we need data, right? So if the database is here, and if this is the Tableau desktop where we will create graphs, first of all, we need to connect the data to the Tableau, correct? Then only once we get the data, only we can do some kind of analysis, or we can create any graphs, right? So for creating any graph, first of all, we need data, correct? So these are all the forms of data available. We will call this term as data sources. Okay, that means Excel is called as one data source, text file is called as one data source. Likewise, MySQL is called as one data source, SQL Server is called as one data source. These are all the available data sources in the Tableau. Okay. In the middle part, you can see something called as open, right? These are all the recent graphs which I have created. Whenever you are will open your desktop for the first time, you cannot maybe you cannot able to see much graphs. These are all the recently I opened graphs, so that is the reason it is just showing me the list of graphs like this. Okay.
Yeah.
And towards the bottom left, you can see something called as saved data sources. We have two types of data sources here. First is sample superstore, and the second is world indicators. These two data sources are actually, it is freely provided by the Tableau for our practice purpose. Okay. And towards the right side, you can see something called as discover. We can actually ignore this. These are all here what we can able to see, in the sense, if we get any kind of updates from the Tableau community, we can able to see the resources and that kind of basically updates here. Okay, we can ignore this part. All right. So this is about the first page of Tableau. Here again, there will be, you can see here Tableau book one. Basically this is one workbook. Okay, this was called as Tableau workbook. Okay, if we rename this workbook, the name will be show here, and we'll have some, this is called as menu bar. We'll have some options like file, data, server. Going forward, we will learn all these options and what we can do with this all these options. Okay, now let me connect to first one simple file, and let's start creating our first graph. So for that, I'm just connecting to Microsoft Excel first. So I need to click on the Microsoft Excel. It will allow me to select any Excel file from my laptop. Okay. So as this is our first graph, let me show only the employee details table. I mean employees details, which we saw in the yesterday. In the yesterday's screenshots, we show one employee details, right? The same file I'm connecting. I'm just selecting this and I'm clicking on open. Okay, immediately when we connect to any file, it may be a database or it may be any file, we will get into this page. This is called as data source level. You can see here, right? So we have basically two levels in Tableau. One is called as data source level and the another one is called as sheet level. Okay, here you can see as sheet one. Right, so for the first time, whenever we connect to any data, we will get into the data source level, and here it will show us the connections. Basically it is showing us I connected to Microsoft Excel file and the file name is employee details, right? So like that it will show, and this is the sheet one. If I open that, I'm opening employee details Excel file. Normally in my laptop, you can see I am having only sheet 1 here, right? Only one sheet. In that, I'm having 3 columns: employee name, employee number, and salary, and I'm having some rows here. Okay, I'm closing this file. I'm opening once again Tableau. That is what it is showing here. I'm having only sheet 1, right? That sheet 1 is reflecting here. What I need to do to to start creating the graphs, I need to drag this sheet 1 to here. Immediately once I drag it this sheet 1 to here, I can able to see the data in this page, right? I hope I'm clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in between. Okay. So immediately once I drag it this sheet 1, I can able to see the data here. Whatever just now we saw in the Excel file, the same data I got here, right? See, we have 3 columns in this: employee name, employee number, and salary. And it is also showing us we are having 37 rows in this data, right? If I scroll it down, we can see all the names here, and it is showing us the row count also here directly, correct? So towards the top right, if you can observe, you can see something called as connection, right? This is what yesterday we discussed. I said there is, whenever we are trying to connect the data to the Tableau, there should be something in between to connect. I mean, there should be something in between which helps to connect, right? That is called as Tableau connection, I said, if you remember, right? So that is what we can see here. Every time, whenever we just connect to the data in the data source level, towards the top right, we can see the connections. By default, every time we will be in the live connection. Okay. So the connection is of two types. One is live connection and the another one is extract connection. And by default we will be on the live connection, and in which cases or in which scenarios we will use extract connection, we will learn that going forward in the Tableau connections class. Okay, so here we can check what is the connection which connection is helping us to connect to the database. So here, as I said, by default we will be in the live connection. Okay. Perfect. So here also, as I said, there will be we have a menu bar here in file and data. We have so many options under data and server. Going forward, whenever we are learning some new concepts, we will learn what are all the options we have here and how we will deal with these options. Okay. And next here towards the left side also the same thing again, fields in the sense column names, right? It is just showing me the field names here. That's it. And if you can observe, the most important thing here, we have 3 columns, that is employee name, employee number, and salary, right? So for each and every employee, I mean each and every column name here, above the column name you can see something called as like this, right? We can see for employee name we can see ABC, for employee number and salary you can see something called as hash, right? So actually this is nothing but the data types. Okay. Tableau is very smarter enough. Once we just dragged the data or once we connected the data, Tableau itself recognizes the data types. Usually in SQL, what it happens, whenever we are creating any table, we need to define the data type, right? Whenever we are writing create syntax there, and whenever we are creating the table, we need to write for each and every, suppose employee name is my column name. Whenever I'm writing employee name there, I need to write the data type. For employee name, maybe the char or varchar will be the data type, right? So we will define data type manually in SQL, correct? In SQL level, we will define data type manually whenever we are creating any table. For each and every column, we will define the data type. But here in Tableau, it is not required. Tableau is very smarter. Once we pull the data from the any kind of data source, it automatically recognizes the data types. We don't manually create any data types here. Tableau itself automatically recognizes the data types. And how many data types are there in Tableau? In the sense, first is character data type, Okay, we will also call it as string data type, character or string data type. So where in how we will use character or string data type in the sense to store any kind of characters, right? Like names, all the kind of alphabets or all the kind of strings to use, we will use character or string data type, correct?
Yeah.
So this is recognized as like this ABC. This is something like as letters. Okay, you can see here, right? ABC. So that means this is character data type, and hash in the sense numerical data type. The next data type, first one is character or string data type. Second one is a numerical data type. Numerical in the sense, obviously, we will store all the numbers, right? So here, wherever in our columns the numbers are there, automatically Tableau gives hash here. Hash in the sense numerical data types. Okay. Likewise, the mostly used data types in Tableau are first is character data type, second is numerical data type, and third is date data type. Okay, and the symbol we will have for the date data type is we will have something like a calendar symbol. In the next file, whenever we will get here, we don't have that dates data types data, right? So in the next file you can able to see. So we have third data type called as date data type, and the symbol will be some calendar kind of symbol we can able to see. And the fourth data type is geographical data type. Okay, geographical data types in the sense basically for all the location kind of columns we will have geographical data types, right? And the symbol will be globe symbol it will be. I will show you in the next kind of data. We don't have any geographical columns here, right? Geographical in the sense all the location, maybe country, if we have country column, if we have city column, address column, like that, wherever the globe or the geographical places are represented on that columns, geographical data types are used. These four are the mainly used data types in Tableau. First is character data type, then numerical data type, date data type, and geographical data type. Okay, I hope I'm clear.
Yeah.
So here in this file, we can see only two kinds of data types, ABC in the sense new character, hash in the sense numerical. Okay, here we are not doing anything. Tableau itself automatically recognizing the data types, right? So this is about the data source level. To create graphs, we need to go to the sheet level here. Here we can able to see sheet one, right? Let me just open that sheet one. Once we open that sheet one, then we will get into this canvas. We will call this as canvas. This is the place where we will create graphs. Okay. So first let's observe what all things we have here. So you can see here towards the left side, we will have all the field names, that is column names. Here in the data source level or in the Excel file, we know we have employee name, employee number, salary, right? So all those column names can be able to see towards the left side. Okay, but if you observe clearly, there will be some division in between, right? One line is there is some division in between all the columns, right? So the first part is called as dimensions and the second part is called as measures. Okay, so actually maybe we are having only three columns here, right? Let me connect to any other. Do you want me to connect any other advanced Excel file, or first do you want me to continue with this and then do you want me to work on any another Excel file?
Work on any other Excel.
Okay, okay. Let me do that. Actually, we are having only three columns here, right? I'm just closing this workbook completely. Once again, I open my Tableau desktop. I'm just clicking on the Microsoft Excel file. Let me go back to, I will connect to sample superstore data. Okay.
Yeah.
In this, we'll have three sheets called as orders, people, and returns. Let's work on orders. So for that, I'll just drag orders to here. then we can able to see the data here, right? So here you can observe it is showing me the row count, the same thing. The connections part is same, everything is same. I'm just trying to explain you the remaining data types here, right? You can see hash in the sense numerical data types. We are having some row, some columns here like row ID, order date, ship mode, customer ID, customer name, segment. Likewise, we are having some geographical columns like country, state, city, postal code. You can see here the symbol is globe here. We are having the symbol of globe. That means this all columns are of geographical data type columns, correct? So likewise, we are having some more columns here. Okay. And at the end, we are having some measures: sales, quantity, discount, profit. These are all some of the numerical columns. And you can see, as I said, order date and ship date. These are of date data type data, and the symbol is calendar here, right? So this is about the data types. Let's connect to the sheet level. If we just go to the sheet level, we can able to, let me close this. Okay, if we able we can if we able to go to the sheet level, we can able to create the graphs. Here we are having so many columns or so many fields, I can say, so that we can understand the data very easily, right? Previously in employees table we had only 3 columns, so that is the reason we connected to this. This is actually the sample superstore data, which is again provided by Tableau for practice purposes. This is nothing but some kind of superstores or supermarkets data, correct? So right. Now let's try to understand the options, all the options available in in this page, and let's try to create our first graph. Okay. So as you can see here, these are all the column names or the field names. Field and column are one and the same, right? So these are all the column names available in our data. In the data source level, we have this many columns, right? All those columns, once we go to the sheet level, we will able to see here. But if you can observe here, there is one separation, or there is one line here, right? Some column names are displaying in this first part, and some columns are displaying in the second part. Basically, this whatever we can see here, those all called as dimensions. Okay, dimensions. And whatever you are seeing at the bottom, those are all called as measures. So what is dimension, what is measures? In the sense, I can say all the numerical data. Okay, just now we discussed what how many types of data types are available in Tableau, right? That is numerical data type, character data type, date data type, and geographical data type, correct? So all the numerical data belongs to measures. Okay, you can see here discount, all hashes only we are having: discount, profit, quantity, sales. All this belongs to numerical data type, right? So this is one of the basic understanding actually. Okay, we can understand that all the numerical columns belongs to measures, and all the remaining columns except numerical, that is, it may be character data, it may be geographical data, it may be date data type data. All the data type, all the remaining data type datas are comes under dimensions. Am I clear?
Yeah.
This is the basic understanding. But the actual definition is that basically we can see that all the numerical data only belongs to the measure part. But the concept here is, if any data or if any column, this basically all the numerical data or all the columns, if we can able to perform any type of calculations. Okay, calculations in the sense we can consider them as the arithmetic calculations, maybe plus minus or else percentages, if we can able to find some percentages on the data, right? So basically, on which data we can able to perform all these calculations? Obviously numerical data only, right? For numbers only we can able to find some kind of calculations, maybe addition, subtraction, or else maybe if we want to find any percentages, obviously for numerical data only we can find or we can do some calculations, correct?
Yes.
So for whatever data, we can able to perform some calculations. Or next we have concept called as aggregate functions. Okay, aggregate functions in the sense in SQL also we have this aggregate functions concept. Functions actually. So what are all the functions comes under aggregate functions? What are all the aggregate functions we have in the sense? First aggregate function is minimum, right? I hope you know about aggregate functions. We have some aggregate functions like min, max, okay, sum, count, and average. Okay, these five functions are called as aggregate functions. So when if we can able to perform this five functions, this five aggregate functions on any data, that one is called as on that data is considered as measures. That means minimum where for numbers only we can able to find in out of the list of some numbers we can able to find what is the minimum value, right? On numbers only we can able to find what is the maximum value. If we have numbers only we can able to find sum, that is total. We can count the numbers and we can able to find the average also on numbers only, right? So actual definition is this one. On the data, on whatever data, if we can able to find the if we can able to perform calculations or aggregate functions, that data belongs to the measure parts and the remaining other data belongs to the dimensions part. Okay, but indirectly we can understand only for numbers only we can perform all these kinds of calculations and functions, right? So indirectly we can understand that all the numbers belongs to the measures and the remaining all the data belongs to dimensions. Am I clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, this is a very important part of the tableau. Okay, going forward also whenever we are creating graphs we need to understand what is dimension and what is measure. Okay, all right. So this is about the, as I said, we can see something called as tables here. Below tables, we can see all the columns, the list of all the columns available in our data. And there will be every time there will be a division. The first part is called as dimensions and the second part is called measures. Okay. So next here you can see something called as rows and columns, right? Here we have rows and here we have columns. This is the place where we need to keep whenever we drag and drop this column names here, automatically we can able to create the graphs. Let's see that practically. But this is the rows and columns where we can place the this fields actually to create the graphs. Okay, let's see, then you can understand. And before that, we have something called as show me option towards the right side, top right, right? You can see show me. We have whatever you can see here, those are all the inbuilt graphs available in Tableau. Okay, so basically we have 24 inbuilt graphs available in Tableau. By default all these graphs are disabled. Okay, but whenever we select any data from here, that is whenever we select any columns, that related graphs will be enabled for us. Okay, for now you can see we have so many graphs, inbuilt graphs, but all those graphs are disabled. If I select any column here, that related graph only will be enabled for us. Okay, and if you can see, if I am keeping my cursor on any of the graph, at the bottom it is showing me that particular graph name. For example, if I'm keeping this cursor here, at the bottom it is showing me that graph is called as horizontal bar graph, and it is showing me 0 or more dimensions, 1 or more measures. That means it is showing me the prerequisites of creating that graph, that is minimum one measure I required to create that horizontal bar. Okay, like that. It is, if I am keeping my cursor in some line chart, it is showing me minimum I require one date column and one measure to create that graph. Like that, it will show us the minimum requirements to create each and every graph available here. Okay, so and next we have something called as filters card here. here you can see that is once normally we can create graphs, but going forward in advanced concept, if we want to use filters, we have many filters in Tableau. Almost we have 5 to 6 types of filters in Tableau. Each and every filter we will learn very practically. So accordingly, whenever we want to apply filters, we will just use this filter card. We will drag the what we call column names to the filters card, and we will apply the filters. Okay, and next we have something called as marks card here. Okay, in this marks card we have many options. We have options like color, size, text, detail, and tooltip. And here you can see something called as automatic. Okay, I will explain each and every option here available going forward. Okay, first let's try to create one graph. Then here also we are having many options, like this is a menu bar, this is a toolbar. We will learn everything slowly. Okay, so let's try to create one graph for now. So I said these are all the inbuilt graphs available. We have 24 inbuilt graphs here. Okay, at the starting stage all these graphs will be disabled. Whenever I select any column, the related graph will be enabled for me. So suppose you can see these are all the dimensions. I'm having category, subcategory. These are all the product names. We will have ship mode. All the, if you can imagine this as any as this is superstore data, these are all the available. You can see here. I'm just going to the data source level. You can see what kind of data is available here, right? We are having some categories here like furniture, office supplies. In that each category we are having some kind of subcategories where they are selling these products. Okay, that kind of data is there here. So let me just select any random dimension here, that is subcategory. Let me just try to create subcategory wise sales here. So for that we have two options. First of all, I said no, this is columns, this is rows and columns. To create the graph, either I can drag any of the dimension or measure to rows and columns, then also I can create the graph. Let's see. So I'm just dragging subcategory to the rows part. I'll do it once again. I'm taking the subcategory, I'm dragging and dropping it in the rows part. Okay. Immediately one graph is enabled for me. That is for this data, that is subcategory data. Only this graph is applicable. Okay. This graph is called as text table. So it is just something like whatever data we selected, it will just show us in the normal textual or normal Excel file format. Okay, and actually going forward, whenever we start visualizations concept, we will learn each and every graph here, each and every graph which are available. We will learn it very detailedly. Okay, so I'm dragging. I just selected subcategory here. Now I want to analyze subcategory wise sales. So I'm just dragging sales to the columns part. Okay, immediately when once I use the subcategory and sales, you can see here some more graphs are enabled for me. Almost 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 graphs are enabled, right? That means for this kind of data, this many graphs are applicable. Tableau is very smarter again. It will do so much of work instead of us. Whenever we are just supposed to select the data, all the it will show all the related graphs. From these graphs, which graph to create is completely our choice, analyst choice. Okay, depending upon the requirements, depending upon the dashboard we create, we can choose the graphs. So automatically we got horizontal bar graph here, right? So this is one of the way to create the graph. We need to drag dimensions and measures to rows and columns, and we can select any graphs from here. I selected horizontal. Automatically we got horizontal bar. Let's see what is this graph here. If you can see in yesterday's demo also, I showed this picture only, screenshot only, right? So this is basically horizontal bar graph. These are all the available subcategories. These are all the subcategories available in our database. I mean, in our data. Accessories is one subcategory, appliances is one subcategory, all the subcategories here. And each bar is indicating the sales of each subcategory in this data. Okay, so if I'm just placing my cursor here, you can see detailing in one small box called as, that box is called as tooltip. Okay, in the tooltip it will display the details, like it is showing me that subcategory name is accessories and the sales of that subcategory is 167K, like that. Okay, so here, especially in horizontal bar graphs, we can even sort the data in ascending order or descending order. Okay, if we want to see what is the subcategories we are having highest sales, like that we can sort the data, and the options are we are having here, right? You can see two options we are having here, the symbols are also, you can able to understand. If I want to sort it in descending order, I will click this option. Immediately whenever I'm clicking, you can see we can, even if we want to observe clearly, we can close this show me option. You can see all the data, all of my data is sorted in descending order. If I want to sort in ascending order, I need to click this option. It will show me in ascending order. Okay, and not only this, even we can swap. Here you can see on the x-axis we are having sales, and on the y-axis we are having subcategories, right? If we want to change this rows and columns also, we can change. This is the option beside sorting the data ascending and descending. Beside them only, we will have an option called as swap rows and columns. If we click here, the rows and columns are swapped with each other, or else directly in the keyboard we can use control W. From the keyboard we can use control W to swap the rows and columns. For now I'm clicking here only. Immediately when I click here, our graph got swapped, right? Now the subcategories came to the x-axis part and sales came to the y-axis part. Correct? Likewise, we can even swap our graph according to our needs, right? So, and we have many options here. First you can see something called as T option, that is labels. The same option is there in the marks card as well, label, right? So if we want to give labels to our data, we will just click this T mark. Okay, T option. If I'm clicking this T option, it is showing me the cells beside bars. That means instead of, without moving my cursor also, if directly I wanted to see what is the sales of each and every bar, I need to click this label option. So beside the bar only, it is showing me what is that particular sale, right?
Yeah.
And and even we want to change the color also, we can do that. In the mark shelf we have many options here. First is the color option, where not only this graph, we can create so many graphs here. Whatever graph we selected, if we want to change the color, we will use this color option. And if we want to change the size, we will use this size option. If we want to give labels, or basically if we want to give some kind of, if you want to display what is that data, or if you want to give the labels, we will use this label option. Okay, details also, if we want to analyze any dimension or measure detailing in this graph, we will use this detail option, which we will see practically going forward. And tooltip is nothing but, if I am keeping my cursor here, it is showing me the details, right? What is the subcategory and what is the sales, that is called as tooltip. From here also we can edit whatever we want to see here. Okay, for now let's just concentrate on the color part only. Going forward, whenever we deal with each and every graph, we will understand all these options. Okay, so if I want to change the colors here, suppose if I want to give each and separate colors for each and every subcategory, what I will do, I will just drag the subcategory to the color part. Okay, I just dragged it the subcategory to the color option here. Then each and every bar, my all the bars got different colors. That is, each and every subcategory got different colors. If I click on the show me option once again, towards the right side you can see something called as like this, that is called as legend actually. Okay, this is technically called as legends, which we can see towards the once we create any graphs in, we will get the legends automatically. In that it will show us the, it helps us to understand what kind of data is present in that graph. For example, it is showing me for each and every subcategory what is the color it used, correct? So that is the details which we will present inside the legends. Okay, I hope I'm clear.
Yeah.
And not only this, with the same data, Not only this horizontal bar graph, actually this is a horizontal bar graph, right? We have here we have one box and we have something called as standard. This is nothing but by default Tableau took standard as a size. If we click on drop down, we will have different types of views here. If I want to see some more detailing, I can click entire view here. If I'm clicking on entire view, you can see my graph is elaborated little bit, and we can analyze or we can create a graph very clearly, right? Like this we can change the views. This will be the standard view, this will be the entire view. Okay, and this is our first sheet, right? Let me just rename this sheet. Okay, this you can see there we have sheet 1, and this is our horizontal bar graph, correct? We can rename this sheets actually. If I am double clicking on this one, we have sheet 1 here. Just we can double click and we can rename. I will write it as horizontal bar graph. Okay, so I renamed this one. Whenever I renamed, the sheet name is also changed. Here also it got changed, right? So if we want to, change, or if you want to edit this sheet name also, simply we can double click here. We can able to see this. Just drag this sheet name. We can even change the color. Normal edit options we can able to see here. If I'm clicking the drop down here, I can give any other color. Maybe I'll give some red color here, and if I want I can increase the size. I can keep it in the bold. If I want, even we can increase the font also here. Okay, like that we can just edit our sheet names. I'm just clicking on OK. You can see here I got whatever according to my option selected. I got my sheet name. This is how we can edit the sheet names also. Okay,
Yeah.
so actually creating graphs is very simple here. Going forward, whenever we learn the visualizations concept, we need to understand for what type of data, what graphs we need to create. That is the first most important thing, which should be, you know, every data analyst should know, or every Tableau developer should know that thing first. Creating graphs is very simple, but for what kind of data, what types of graphs to choose is the first important thing we need to understand. Okay, and for the same data you can see so many graphs are enabled, right? This is one graph. Automatically we created horizontal bar graph. Even let me for the same data we can create other graphs also. Okay, this is called as tree map, this is called as stacked bar, this is called as packed bubbles. We have so many graphs available here where we can create all of the graphs, and each and every graph available here is have its unique importance. Some kind of data is applicable, I mean, to represent some particular data we will use this kind of graphs, which we will learn very clearly going forward. Okay, and these are few options which we will learn going forward also. This is basically presentation mode. You can see this option here. If I'm clicking this, you can able to see whenever we are giving some PPTs or whenever we are presenting something, we can use this mode. If we want to go back, I will just click on escape. We'll just go back. Okay, this is share option. Once if we want to share this workbook by using online account, we can share this. And if we click this is the cards. Actually we can able to show or we can able to hide the cards. Likewise, if this is some groups, we are going forward we will learn all these options. Okay, and if we want to create our second sheet, this is first sheet, right? If I want to create one more graph, I will open. Here we will have three options. First option is new worksheet. To create separate graph we need to open this worksheet. And the second option is new dashboard. Okay, in real time obviously we will deal with dashboards only. Dashboard is nothing but collection of graphs, I can say. In one place we can able to see multiple graphs, correct? Yesterday also I shown you, at the end we will learn some HR analytics dashboard, right?
Yeah.
So I hope you know what is dashboard, correct? So suppose like this is one of the dashboard. This is a multiple graphs we will create here, and in one page only we will able to store all the graphs together, right? That is called as dashboard. To create that dashboard, we need to use this option. First, we need to click this second option here. First one is a new sheet. Second option is new worksheet. New dashboard. If whenever we want to create dashboard, we will select this option. Likewise, we will have one more concept called as stories, that is Tableau stories. If we want to create Tableau stories, we will use these options. And the same options are available in the menu bar also. Dashboard, we even from whenever I click on dashboard, first option new dashboard, from here also I can create it new dashboard, and from story also I can create a new story. Okay, each and every options we are available here. We will understand all the options whenever we are learning the remaining concepts of Tableau. Okay, so let me open another sheet and let's try to create another graph today. Okay, and for that I'm just clicking on new worksheet. Okay, so previously in this first graph, what I said, I just dragged the dimension and measure into the rows and columns, right? So you may get doubt like what I did, I just dragged the dimension into the rows and columns, I mean dimension into the rows part and measure to the columns part, right? That is what I did. Dimension in the sense subcategory, I dragged the subcategory to the rows part, and sales, that is measured to the columns part. So without dragging and dropping also, if you feel that have to know whether how I know that I should drag subcategory into the rows only, why can't I drag it to the columns, like that if you have any doubts, no need of using dragging and dropping option also, directly we can double click. Okay, let me show with the same data. If I'm just double clicking the subcategory, it automatically went to the rows part. Previously I dragged and kept it in the rows part, but here I didn't drag. This is one option. If I'm this if we click this option, we can clear the sheet. Okay, if I want to remove everything, I will just click this, then the sheet will be cleared. So what I did, I just double click the subcategory, automatically it went to the rows part and it is showing me the data, right? If I double click the sales, by default it will go to the columns, but all the sales or all the measures, you know, here also you can see all the measures auto will be disabled, I mean will be displayed in the aggregation level. That is, you can see here sum of sales is came, right? By default all the measure columns will be use sum as an aggregation. It or by automatically it won't use normal numbers, it will take aggregate functions only. Tableau is designed in such a way, and by default it will take sum as an aggregation. If needed in another graph, so we can change this aggregation level where we can understand at that part. Okay, so according to the graphs we selected, here sum of sales is by default went into the columns only, but as I got this graph, it is showing me this graph, in the sense this is text tables graph, right? So here my sales is showing me in the form of text only, correct? That is the reason it went into this label part. Here in the marks card we are having something called as text or label, and the symbol is T, right? So it is showing me sum of sales is showing, the sales are showing in the form of text, right? That is the reason we didn't did anything. Tableau automatically does everything for us. Okay, if I select this horizontal bar, then the sum of sales went into the columns part. So according to the graph we select this rows and columns, or whatever the measures or dimensions are there, they will change. You can observe, if I'm selecting the first graph, as sales are displaying in the text format, you can see sum of sales in this marks card and it is showing me text, that is T symbol. If I select horizontal bar, you can see sum of sales in the columns part. Like that, we don't do anything, Tableau itself automatically does everything for us. Okay, so we can create so many graphs here. This is one thing called as tree maps. Okay, this is again similar to horizontal bar only. In horizontal bar, each and every subcategory sale is representing in the form of bars, right? In tree map, it just represent in the form of boxes, or we can call it as rectangles also. Highest sale is, it will take the biggest box, and the lowest sale it will take the smallest box, right? And the same concept here, if we want, we can just, here you can see previously in horizontal bar what I did to display the text, I mean numbers, here I just clicked on T option. correct? If I'm clicking T again, it just disabled, and if I'm clicking T again, the sales is showing me here. Automatically when I create the tree map, automatically it is showing me what is the subcategory name. That name is displaying me on each and every box, right? If I'm moving my cursor in the tooltip, it is showing me the subcategory names and the sales. If I click the T option here, subcategory names are disabled. If I click the T option again, subcategory names are enabled. But along with the subcategory, if I want to display the sales also on the top of this box, what we can do? Automatically, I need to drag this sales to the label, that is T part. Okay. So I will drag the sales and drop it on the T part. Then I can able to see the sales also here, right? Likewise, on any of the graph, if we want to change the color, we will drag columns or rows to the color part. If we want to change the size, we will use this size part. If we want to display the labels, or if we want to display the text, we will use this columns and rows into this label part. Am I clear?
Yeah.
So here also we can even change the colors. I'll just drop this. What I will do, I'll just, this color part is there, right? For each and every subcategory, if I want to change the color, I'll just drag this subcategory to the color part. Then for each and every box, I will get some colors. This is actually the basic graph only, just like a horizontal bar graph. Nothing, no changes are there. Horizontal bar graph, it represents in the form of bars. Tree map, it just represents in the form of boxes. And the same related thing, we have another graph called as packed bubbles. Here, if I select this graph, it will represent me in the form of circles. Again, the highest sales will show me the biggest circle. Smallest sales will be show me my smallest circle. These three graphs are, I can say, they are same, right? Here it uses bars, here it uses boxes, and here it uses circles. Accordingly, according to our wish, we can choose these graphs, correct? The concept is same for these three graphs. Remaining, we have many graphs, those are all accordingly. You can see here the requirements is also different. Horizontal bar, it is showing me 0 or more dimension, 1 or more measure. Likewise, we will have different requirements. To create area graph, we need date column. To create circle views, we need, yeah, compulsorily one dimension and one measure. Histogram, only one measure is required. Likewise, we are having many graphs. Going forward, we will learn each and every graph very carefully. Okay. And yeah, am I clear?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, if you have any doubts, you can ask me.
In Power BI, we have the Power Query editor for clearing.
Correct. Yes.
And Tableau, which software means ETL we will use for the clearing.
Yes, actually, ETL we will use if we want to perform any clean steps. Like in Power Query, however, we will, however, we will remove all the null values and all, right? That is what you're asking me.
Yeah, I am asking.
Yeah, the same thing here. We will use ETL. Okay,
Yeah.
and we will have in Power BI. DAX functions will be there, right? Whatever functions or whatever we will have the formulas, we will use DAX functions over there, right?
Yeah.
So here we will have one concept called as calculated fields. Okay. So we'll have one concept called as calculated fields. Whatever in this calculated fields, most of the functions are available. Most we have many functions are available in Tableau inbuilt. For example, if I'm just selecting min, we will have min function inbuilt available here. Likewise, we can have so many functions inbuiltly available in the Tableau inside the calculated fields. We can use directly, we'll just write the function here. We will no need of using so many kind of formulas here. We have so many functions inbuilt available in, Tableau in the form of calculated fields. We have one option here. We have one concept called as calculated fields. Here we have a drop down. We need to click on it. We need to click on create calculated field. In this, so many inbuilt functions are available in Tableau, we can just directly access them. If not that functions, if we want to write any other logics here, like any formulas, any calculation paths also, we can write everything in this section actually called as calculated field. This is act same as DAX function. How we will use DAX functions in Power BI, we will use calculated functions, calculated fields here to create all the to basically to use all the functions or to create some kind of calculations. Likewise, we will have so many concepts in a Tableau, like so far we just created, we will having only 24 inbuilt graphs here. So we along with them we have so many advanced graphs. To create each and every advanced graph, we need to follow some steps. Again, with the help of this graphs only, we will create some advanced graphs. These are also very easy, that our Tableau won't be that complex. We need to learn and we need to remember everything. That will be very easy to learn and easy to understand. And whatever graphs we have created just now, those are all static graphs, right? We can just, I'm creating here, but going forward in a real time, we will work with dynamic graphs. Correct? That means I need to create graph in such a way. Suppose here I created one bar graph, right? Here it is showing me for each and every subcategory what is the sales. So I need to create graphs in dynamic way, that whenever the user or whenever the client want to see, like if you want to see top 5 sales, he can able to directly see top 5. If he want to see bottom 5 sales, he can able to you know, he can able to select according to his wish. We will create dynamic graphs in such a way. For that, we will use a concept called as parameters and sets. Like that, we'll have many concepts. We will learn each and every concepts very detailedly and practically here. Okay. And let me just show you one SQL server. Going forward, I will explain you how we will connect to the SQL server. Actually, this is the SQL server, Microsoft SQL server workbench, I can say. Okay, these are all the databases I have. We will first learn how to deal with the SQL server, and then we will learn how to connect this SQL server to the Tableau. Okay, here database we are going to learn in this course is SQL server, as you know, right? So, and the real time, I can say real time databases or real time, I mean, in by using which kind of data we will learn the complete course, in the sense mostly we will use, whenever we are dealing with SQL server, I will use something called as adventure works DW and adventure works 20, this thing. Okay, we have something called as adventure works. This is actually provided by Microsoft SQL server itself for practice purpose. Wherever you can see, actually from 2012 to 2024, currently from 2013, they are just changing the years, but the data is same. Before 2013 the data was different. Okay, so you can even download the latest version also. The I will show you how to download these files, and I will show you how to restore the database and data warehouse in SQL Server. We will deal with, basically the data in Tableau. In tomorrow's class, I will explain you what is database and what is data warehouse. And in Tableau, basically, we will use not only databases, we will use data warehouse data also. What is the difference between them? How we are going to use data warehouse in Tableau also, we will learn. So this is what, wherever you can see, this is the database which we are going to use in SQL Server part. This is a real-time database. Adventure works wherever you can see. You can even, I will show you the download process. You can even download the 2022 23, whatever year you wish, you can download that part. The data will be same only. Okay, if you see adventure works 2014, in the sense that is normal database. Wherever you see after adventure works, wherever you see DW, in the sense that means data warehouse. So this is database data, this is data warehouse data. What is the difference between them? How we will deal with that data, and how to restore everything, we will learn. First of all, what is the difference between them, I will tell you in tomorrow's class. Okay, So this is the database which we will use. We have so many tables here. Okay, so to understand each and every concept of Tableau, first in SQL part, in SQL Server part, we will use this AdventureWorks database or data warehouse. And whenever we are dealing with Excel part, we will learn the sample superstore, because this is in so we have sample superstore data file. And we can understand it depending, when comparing to this data, you can understand very clearly this data, right? So some concepts we will learn on sample superstore data, some concepts we will learn and this adventure works data. Whatever we use, the same, every concept is used by any of that data, you can understand very clearly, no problem. Okay,
Yeah.
and at the end, as I said, we will learn one HR analytics real time dashboard creation. Okay,
Okay.
all right, if you have any doubts you can ask me now. Hi, Bhargav. I think, can you hear me? You joined late, I guess, Bhargav. I didn't realize when you joined. Anyways, this is our first class where we created our basic graphs. Going forward, also, we will learn each and every concept very clearly. Okay. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, or else I will end this session today and tomorrow let's meet at same time. Is it okay, Gayatri?
Yeah.
Great. All right, let me end the session. We are done with the time as well.